Hello again. Well, today we're going to take an in-depth look at the side yard. The side yard is pretty much the engine of our garden, and everything that goes into the garden either passes through here or starts off its life here. It's home to the city collection wheelie bins, the compost heap and all that other bloody rubbish that you have no idea what to do with. To the people that don't garden, this area might look pretty scruffy, but to those of us that do, well, we've all got one, right? We know what it's about, we know what it does. Without this, we don't got that. Or that. Or that, for a matter of fact. In fact, we don't have much of this at all. We put the raised beds in the side yard about 6 or 7 years ago, and it changed our lives. We went from being primarily flower growers into people that grew vegetables too. We estimate that we grew probably around 75 to 85% of all the vegetables that we consumed last year. Now, I don't think we'll be able to better that this year, but it would be nice if we could maintain that kind of percentage. We're growing around 30 pots of potatoes in the side yard this year, and about 20 of those pots were given to me by Deb Garnett when she dropped by for a visit last year. And then the other 10 pots are descendants of the Sarpo Mira that Adam from Allotment Grow House sent me a couple of years ago. I'm not going to bore you by going through all of the pots, but there are a couple that I'd like to take a look at. These are Amorosa potatoes that I got from Deb, and I'm getting these delusions of grandeur. Having seen Deb's success with these last year, every time I walk past this pot I keep saying to myself, I am going to get 15 pounds of potatoes out of this pot, and if I don't, me and you are going to have issues. I think in reality though, I'll probably get the 3 or 4 pounds out of the pot like I normally do, and I'll be happy. There's nothing wrong with dreaming, is there? And then I've got these 2 pots, which are Sarpo Miras. Now the potatoes were about the size of a pea, and I started them off in 3-inch pots. Now this one seems to be doing really well, but the one next to it, after I buried it, I thought it had died, and it's not done so well. But the other day I did note that we do have a little leaf coming through. Now, like I said, they were the size of peas, so if I get a bunch of peas back, again, I'll be happy. Another one I'd like to take a look at is this one. Now, we don't get blight. I don't know what blight looks like, but this one does not look too healthy. I'll try and get a close-up of the leaves. This is a red chieftain potato, and I don't know, it's almost like, you know, when you get like a leaf curl on a tomato plant. It's kind of reminds me of that. It doesn't look healthy. I don't know, Deb, these red chieftains, is this how they grow, or is there something wrong with it? Is this blight? Any help would be appreciated. In this first bed I just sown some parsnips the other day, and these parsnips will be used over the winter whenever the soil is not frozen. And next to that I'm growing a couple of types of shallots. One is called Ambition, the other is called Conserva, and they're both grown from seed. Now, I've been growing these for a few years now, and they have excellent storage qualities. They will store for well over a year. And then we have a bed of spring onions that I like to grow in bunches. We've got 2 types here. One is called Eiffel, the other type is called Kincho, and neither of these bulb up very well at all. In fact, they stay very thin, and that's exactly how we like them. And then we've got the first of 3 carrot beds. Now I've gone with 3 beds this year because last year by about Christmas time we ran out of carrots, which pissed me off a little bit. We had to go and buy them, and that's not a good thing. So in this first bed it's actually seed tape. This is a type called knot, and you know, they really need thinning out, but I'm not gonna bother. I think what I'm gonna do is I'll probably leave these ones in the soil over winter and take them as we can. And next to them we have a bed of sweet candle carrots. Now this bed I sieved all the way through, and these carrots were a gift from Terry King, who apparently has no problem sharing his carrots, but I think his giant parsnip, he prefers to keep that for showing off himself. And finally another bed of knot, which were sowed with pelleted seed. The side yard is also home to one of the greatest pieces of architecture known to man, the garden shed. In our garden shed, we just keep garden stuff. There's no bikes in here, there's no junk or anything like that we don't know what to do with. Everything in here is garden related. There are things like potting soil, bit of peat moss, some garden blended compost. I pick all these up whenever I see them on sale, and certainly later in the year I'm going to be needing a little bit more soil when I pot along all the perennials that I started earlier in the year. I don't know, things like chicken wire. I've got a few pots, and then maybe 1 or 2 things that do look like medieval torture equipment. A couple of pieces like that actually. One here. But trust me, they do have gardening uses. I don't know, vermiculite, a few stones. Roundup, yes, I do use it. I'm not a big fan of it, but I do use it between the cracks in the slabs. And then I've got like a whole bunch of pots and cell trays. In fact, there's nearly as much plastic here as there is on Steven Tyler's face, but that's okay. This lot probably lasts me a lifetime. What else we got here? Let's have a look. Yeah, a little bit of shaken feed, Epsom salts, all that kind of stuff that you use throughout the year. It's also home to Mrs. Coleman's lawnmower. Yeah, like I mow lawns. It's also home to the gasoline cans that we use in the various pieces of garden machinery that we have, and I absolutely love this place. I think everybody should have one. And if we take a look at the side of the shed, we have a couple of more beds. Now, I built these 2 beds earlier in the year for the 2 grandchildren, and these were seeded and potted up by the granddaughter, who's about 18 months old, a little while back. I'm a little bit miffed about it actually, because the sunflowers are doing better than mine. It's not right. Anyway, we have one for the granddaughter and one for the grandson. Well, that's taken a look at the side yard, which is pretty much the life and soul of the whole garden. Next time we'll take a look at a different part, but right now I think it's time for a beer. And this week it's Newcastle Brown. Cheers.